You know, from the heat of July, let's go back to the floods of June. And tonight, people asking why no one came to the rescue for them when that flooding started, and even after they had called 911. Channel 5's Taylor Winkle tells us emergency management officials say they are happy with their response to the storm.
We've heard similar stories from neighbors who live in Mercedes and Weslaco. They called 911 to get rescued and no one came to help them. They want to know what would happen if there was a hurricane. The county says we'd be better off. She's left with the memory of thinking she would drown.
I called 911 and they told me that they couldn't help me right now, that they were very busy.
You've seen the footage from her neighborhood in some of the first hours of the June flood. Maria Castro says she was stranded as waters continued rushing into her Mercedes home just off West Expressway 83.
So then the water, when I had it like up to my waist, that's when I called them again. I told them I need to get out of here. You need to help me. And they said, we're sorry, but we can't help you. We have other things that we have to do.
She wants to know why, in one of the hardest hit areas of the valley, a rescue never came.
There was an overabundance of rescue calls coming in. They were prioritizing those calls to the most impacted areas.
Ricardo Saldana is the emergency management coordinator for Hidalgo County. We asked him what happened with all the 911 phone calls.
The 911 system in the city of Weslaco went down there for a while.
The Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council says our 911 system exceeds state specifications. On this day, the Weslaco building was flooding, so those calls were rerouted to the sheriff's office and other available sites like McAllen. LRGV DC says no 911 call should have gone unanswered. Emergency response, though, is a different story.
It happened in Harvey, in the bigger cities where they have a lot more resources than we do, so it's going to happen. We deployed all the resources we had available to us locally.
But in a hurricane, you'll die because they're not there to help you.
Saldana says we're actually better prepared in the case of a hurricane. That's because there's time to get local, county, state, and federal emergency crews situated before the storm hits, unlike the June flood.
It came to a surprise to all of us. You know, we weren't expecting, yes, they told us we were going to get rain, but we weren't expecting this amount of rain.
We asked Saldana how he would rank the county's emergency response.
I would give the county a 10 with the resources we had available to us.
Castro disagrees.
You think that the city or 911, you call them because it's an emergency, they're going to come and help you. It's sad.
In Mercedes, Taylor Winkle, Channel 5 News.
Saldana says to avoid having to call 911 and risk getting stranded in a flood, he reminds those who live in flood-prone neighborhoods that you should make emergency plans to stay with family or at a shelter in the event of another flood or a hurricane.